and we'll still try to figure it out virtually. We've also had a meeting last semester. We have a meeting right now, and we will probably have a meeting before the end of the year to give you guys information. And then I send out, like we said, messages through email or Teams chat. I'm usually pretty good about responding within 24 hours of a workday. If you email me or message me, if you don't hear from me, just email me again. There's a small chance it got lost. But as you know, I'm usually pretty responsive to your questions. Usually, if you were in person, I would hunt you down and try to make sure you've applied and things like that, but it's much more difficult virtually. So if you need help, you really need to come to me in one of the ways I said to get that help. And I'm more than willing to help you. It's just hard to track you guys down when you're not in person. So what should be finished by now? I call this the graveyard of past deadlines because some deadlines have passed already. At the same time, we still have plenty of time for certain things. So ideally, all students have finished applying to colleges by now. I know that that's not necessarily the case, but one of the reasons that was a goal is because certain colleges' deadlines have already passed. UT Austin's deadline was December 1st. Rice's deadline was January 1st. At the same time, U of H's deadline is not till May 31st. UHD, June 1st, and HCC is August 14th. So if you're not interested in UT or Rice, but you're interested in some of those other places, then you still do technically have time. You need to check with the university you're looking at, though, to look at their deadlines. So I've gone over this before, but I know some of you maybe weren't paying attention, and now it feels more important now that time's coming up. But the steps to apply to college. Your first step is to apply online with Apply Texas or the Common App. There are a few schools that do not use those, but those are the most common ways to apply. Check the school's website to see how you need to apply. If you're using Apply Texas, request your transcript on the Eastwood website. That comes from Dr. Veronica. A lot of you guys ask me for transcripts. I can provide an unofficial transcript, but that is not what colleges want. They want an official transcript. That comes from Dr. Veronica, our registrar. If you're using Common App, I can actually just push a button and your transcript will be sent to the college. But you must link your application in Naviance to your Common App application and let me know so I just don't miss your paperwork. This year's weird. You don't have to send your test scores to most schools. If you got a good test score, I probably would send it. You can tell if your test score is good by going on a college's website and seeing if it fits within their average test scores. If your test score is way lower than their average, I would not send it. Then you have to pay the fee or submit a fee waiver. If you want to know if you qualify for a fee waiver, you can ask me, but it all depends on how much your family makes and how many people are in your family. If you do not qualify for a fee waiver, I will not give you one. I'm a rules follower, and the rules say that only the people that qualify get a fee waiver. You may have to consider this when you decide how many colleges to apply to, because the fees can add up. So this is a big thing for a lot of you guys. A lot of you have finished your applications, and so you need to be checking your email regularly for messages from colleges. That's how some of you are going to find out that you got into college, which is very exciting. It's also how many of you are going to find out you're missing things, transcripts, fees, fee waivers. Last year, I had a kid who should have gotten into A&M easily, but he missed an email from them and didn't send in his test scores. And he ended up not going to A&M, even though he was qualified because he didn't check his email to see he had missed submitting something. So I would hate for that to happen to you. Also, most schools are going to send you information to log into a special portal. They'll send you a password and a username. And so once you log in, you can see the status of your application, if you're missing things. So make sure you do log into those portals as soon as you get the information. I did send out a document giving you help on logging into the portals. I can email that again tomorrow. I think it's pretty helpful because I can't see the portals, it's really hard for me to know how to help you log into something that I don't have any knowledge of. So this will give you some help. So this is really important because there's a lot of confusion about Houston Community College, HCC. If you were an Eastwood student your sophomore year, most likely you already applied to HCC. We have all the sophomores apply so that way if they want to take HCC courses during their high school career, they can. So some of you may have never taken an HCC course, but technically you have applied. And for some reason, they don't want you to apply again. So if you try to apply again, it will probably result in an error. If you weren't here at Eastwood and you've never taken HCC classes, then you would just apply the regular way through Apply Texas. So if you plan on going to HCC, number one, you've already been accepted. You need to send your FAFSA to HCC and then basically tell HCC that you want to attend in May. You don't have to tell them now. This is very early for HCC. Like I said, their deadline is August 15th. You will need to send your final transcript to HCC in June. You do not have to send them your transcript before then. My advice to all of you guys is to not set your sights on HCC right now until you see the financial aid offerings for all of your colleges. HCC can be a great option. It is an inexpensive option, but at the same time, a lot of you guys qualify for full tuition at free full tuition at UHD or even U of H. So don't believe that the only place you can go is HCC because it's the cheapest. Wait and find out. Another thing to consider is that UHD has one campus with less than 15,000 students. HCC has 23 campuses and over 55,000 students. So we had a student who signed up for HCC late, and he had 5 classes at 3 different campuses. Depending on what you want to study, you may not be able to go to the HCC right by your house. You may have to go to A-Leaf or downtown or one of their other campuses. So HCC can be a great choice for a lot of people, but I think it is important that you kind of know what's going on with HCC and that it is a very, very large system all over the city. So financial aid. The priority deadline for FAFSA is January 15th. That is this Friday. Now, that's the deadline to make sure you get the most money you're entitled. It does not mean that if you're later than that, you don't get any money. You can still apply for FAFSA after that date. If you need the kind of little kick in the butt to get it done this week, though, I would try to get it done before Friday to give yourself the best chance at money. You will need your parents' 2019 taxes to apply. If your parents do not do taxes or did not do taxes in 2019, you cannot do FAFSA and you cannot get free money from the government. The good news is your parents can file their 2019 taxes late. So I have had students do this where their parents didn't file taxes, but then they decided to do it so their kid could do FAFSA. So in that scenario, your parents would need to do their taxes before you can fill out your FAFSA. Now, for undocumented students, there's something called TASFA. It's similar. It asks a lot of the same questions, but it's not online. You actually send paper copies of the form to each university. No matter which one you guys do, help is available. I'm more than willing to sit down with you and help you with your financial aid. So for FAFSA steps, if the student is a citizen, first the student creates an FSA ID. Now the things with the asterisk means you can do that before ever meeting with me, and that saves a lot of time. It's just your personal information. If your parent is a citizen, your parent also creates an FSA ID. If you have older siblings, they may have already done this, but it's only one FSA ID for each person. And only one parent has to have one. So your family, you or your parent fills out all the personal information, making sure you put all the colleges you're interested on your FAFSA. If you are a male student, you have to sign up for selective service. That basically means if we went to war and had a draft like we did back in Vietnam, then you would have to go fight if they called on you. The good news is we haven't had that in years. My dad is 65. They did that before he was old enough to do it. But basically the government says, if you want our money, then you have to be willing to fight for us. If you say no, you are not eligible for money from the US government for college. The next part is when you fill out the tax information. That's the part that is sometimes confusing depending on your taxes. If possible, try to link your taxes to IRS. There's a button that says you can do that. If that works, the whole thing is much easier. Again, that's the part that you might want my help with, but it's best if you complete all the things above first, and then we really save a lot of time. After that, both the student and parent sign the FAFSA using the FSA ID. The student submits the FAFSA. If the parent is not a citizen, then the student will send in a signature page that the parent signs, and that's the final step for the FAFSA. So after you submit your FAFSA, you will receive an email that says it is processed. You will get an estimate of what your aid will be from the United States, but not from Texas. So you may get an estimate that says you're going to get $6,000, and you're thinking, wait a minute, U of H costs $13,000. Well, usually Texas will also give you money. So you'll usually get double what you see on your estimate. So you might get $6,000 from Texas and $6,000 from the USA. When you get your email, be careful, read it. Sometimes there are things that you need to do. Again, you don't want to be stuck in a hard place because you didn't read your email, and 2 months later, you haven't done the things you need to do to finish your FAFSA. You will not see your full financial aid amount until March or April. And the way you see that is every school that accepts you will have like something on their portal that says financial aid. So you get into U of H, then you will be able to see what financial aid they're offering you. That's where you will see the US government money and the Texas government money and anything else they may give you. I'm going to show you guys an example of a financial aid report in just a minute. So with FAFSA, some people are chosen for verification. That basically means they need more paperwork to make sure that what you're saying is true and verify what you've said. Sometimes you'll get an email from FAFSA, or it will show up right when you finish your FAFSA to say that you need to be that you've been chosen for verification. Other times your college will let you know, either through email, sorry, or through your portal. Basically, it means you have to send extra documents to each college. Go to the IRS website to get your tax return transcript. If your parents are not citizens, you will be chosen for verification. I'm sorry, hold on a second. If you ignore the extra paperwork, then you probably will not get financial aid. So again, it takes a little while to gather this. Don't ignore it. If you're able to use the IRS retrieval tool where it automatically connects your IRS information to your FAFSA, then it's unlikely you'll be chosen for verification. Also, if you have to correct your FAFSA, you make a mistake and have to go back, you're more likely to be chosen for verification. So that's why I say get it right the first time. Okay, your final college choice. Students should not be making a final college choice until you see your financial aid. Yes, you may get into your dream college, but if they don't offer you enough money to go there, then that's probably not the place you're going to end up going. It's important to look at all the colleges you get into, all of your financial aid offers, and then make your decision. An exception would be if you've already applied to early decision, which we have a few people who've done that, and you've already been awarded, $80,000 a year in scholarships, you can go ahead and stick with that one. But for most people, that's not the situation, and you really need to wait till you see all the schools you get into and how much money you're going to get. Like I said, your financial aid decisions come out in March or April, and usually by May 1st is when you have to decide what college you're going to go to. And I'm going to show you an example of financial aid. So this is a real financial aid package from a real Eastwood student. And you're going to actually have to send me a screenshot of this whenever you guys get these in. So if you look at the top, the student is offered two kinds of loans, which we'll talk about later, and they're choosing not to accept them. They're offered a federal Pell Grant. That is money from the United States government. They were offered $6,195. I'll go into grants a little more, but that's the money you don't pay back. So of course they're going to accept those. At the bottom is the Texas grant. That's money from the Texas government. That goes for our students who are documented and undocumented, if they qualify based on income. And then this person got an academic excellence scholarship for $2,500. So altogether, this student got $14,834 in free money. And that is enough to go to U of H for free, essentially, and including books and things like that. Now, it's not enough to live on campus, but it is enough to live in Houston and commute. So that's why one of the reasons I said, don't just say I am definitely going to HCC. It's possible you'll be like this person and get enough to go to U of H. So I'm just going to briefly go over each of the kinds of monies that you may get in your financial aid offer. Like I said, grants are free money. The big thing to know about is that it's because of your family's income. So if you're a student and you have, let's say, a family of 4 that makes less than $60,000, then you might get as much as $13,000 from the government. Let's say you have less people in your family or your family makes more money. You may still get some money, but you will not necessarily get as much money. I can't predict 100% how much you'll get. That's why you have to see when you look at your portal and see what each school is offering you. One big thing to know is if you drop out of school halfway through the semester, you have to pay all this stuff back. So it's free, but you have to pay it back if you drop out. Now, loans. This is money that you must pay back. There's two kinds of loans, subsidized and unsubsidized. Subsidized are better because basically the government pays the interest while you are in school. You take out a $4,000 loan. When you graduate 4 years later, it is only $4,000. An unsubsidized loan will actually gain interest while you're in school. So if you take out $4,000 and then after 4 years, you may owe $4,500, whatever the interest is. So if you're taking out one kind of loan, always choose subsidized over unsubsidized. You can also take out private loans from banks, but I would be very careful about taking out loans. Loans can be good if that's the only way you can go to college, or that's the only way to get to the college you want to go to. But my big advice would be that after you graduate from college, if you have loans, that you would live like a college student, move back in with your parents, live very frugally, don't buy a new car, don't buy a bunch of stuff, and pay off your debts as soon as possible. And you could probably pay it off in a year or two, making real money. And then you don't ever have to worry about your student loans again. The people that get into trouble are the ones who forget about their student loans or don't pay on them, and the interest builds and builds and builds. So scholarships. That's what a lot of you guys, if you're right on track, you've already applied to all your schools, you've done your financial aid application, you should really be focusing on scholarships. There's still plenty of deadlines that you have not missed. This is free money, and usually you have to apply for it. I say usually because, like that U of H example, that person got an academic scholarship that they didn't apply for, just based on how great their transcript was. Sometimes they'll give you that based on your SAT score as well. So universities offer scholarships, companies, charities, and private citizens offer scholarships. Some scholarships you can get every year as long as you make certain grades, which is really nice. And then the more specific the criteria, the better chance you have of getting a scholarship. So let's say you are an African American female who loves computer science and dance. If you can find a scholarship for African American females who love computer science and dance, you should definitely apply for it because not very many people fit that criteria. All good scholarships require an essay. I'll repeat that. All good scholarships require an essay. So if you think you're going to get a good one and never write an essay, that's just not true. A lot of scholarship committees, that's their favorite part, is reading the essays. Their favorite part is not looking at your transcript, it's reading your essay and getting to know who you are. Also, most scholarships are need-based, so it depends on how much your parents make, but they also, most of them don't require more than a 3.0 GPA. So you don't have to be #1 in your class to get a scholarship. Usually they're looking at your extracurriculars, your community involvement, and whether or not you have, sorry, my kid was squealing, your essay. So a lot of people ask me about scholarships. Really, the best scholarships are the ones that I send out each month on email. They have people at HISD that actually find some of the best scholarships. A lot of them are for Houston area, which means it's not everybody in the country going for it. Again, be wary of scholarships with no essay that ask for a lot of personal information. Some of those scholarships are just going to collect your information to sell to advertisers. Also, never give out your Social Security number unless you win the scholarship. Some scholarships will need your Social Security number if you actually win it, but don't just be putting it on random stuff. You can always give it to them later if they need it. This is what the scholarship email that I send looks like. It has an attachment, and then each little blue thing is a link to a website where you can find out more details. If I were you, I would get this email and I would click on each link to see if you qualify. Read carefully so you don't waste your time, but make sure you meet the qualifications. So here are some really good scholarships. The Marvy Finger Scholarship. This is a great scholarship for students who are getting a technical degree from a community college. This is not for people doing their basics. This is for people that are, Fletcher, stop. This is for, hold on, sorry. Technical difficulty, stop. I apologize, 3-year-olds are unpredictable. Again, Marvy Finger is a great scholarship. Hold on a second, let me fix the subtitle. Okay, let me see if it's working again. Okay, so Marvy Finger is a great scholarship, but it's for people that are wanting a 2-year or 1-year degree and go straight to work. So examples might be construction, welding is a common one. There's a lot of different programs that are 1 or 2-year programs. It's not, again, like I said, it's not for people that want to do their basics. I can explain more about that if you're interested. There's a Hammond Family Scholarship for the kids in the Houston area that gives you $20,000. The Rodeo Scholarship, a lot of Eastwood kids have won that. We have anywhere from 1 to 5 kids win that every year. Doug Miller Don Sanders Scholarship actually gives you full tuition scholarship plus studying abroad. The Dream Scholarship is a full tuition scholarship for undocumented students. We've had students win that scholarship. And then another thing to consider is the Honors College. So a lot of schools have honors colleges, which are kind of elite programs within the college. And a lot of those give you a scholarship as part of it, no matter what your family's income is. Okay, so let me see. So here's some tips about scholarships. If you write 1 or 2 good personal essays, you can usually use them for multiple scholarships. I actually really like helping people write essays. I like helping them edit, so feel free to ask me or one of your English teachers to help you. Always double check the deadline dates and times. Also check the time zones. If something is due at 5 Eastern time, that's 4 our time. I have had kids miss it by like 1 hour. You also probably shouldn't be turning it in that close to the deadline. Don't ask for references at the last minute, and be sure to follow all the instructions carefully on the application. A lot of times if you're missing a certain part, then they'll just throw your application away. Recommendation letters. I personally write about 50 recommendations letters a year, which is a lot. So because of that, I have a system. I require a completed brag sheet, which basically gives me a lot more information about you and really helps me to write a better recommendation. And I need 2 weeks notice to complete a letter of recommendation Because like I said, I write about 50. It is also good to give teachers at least 2 weeks notice and gentle reminders. Pick someone who knows you well when you're getting a recommendation letter. If you do apply on the Common App, I do have to write one for you. So make sure you send me that brag sheet. Otherwise, your recommendation letter is going to be pretty puny. The first recommendation letter takes some time, but after I've written one for you, it's very easy for me to change a couple words from this scholarship to that scholarship or this college to that college, and it's very easy. Okay, final transcripts. I've had a lot of questions about final transcripts. This is a pet peeve of mine that universities do, is they put final transcript on your to-do list on your portal already. The reason this is a pet peeve is you do not have a final transcript. You have not completed high school. You will not have a final transcript until the middle of June or end of June, really. So don't worry about that if it's on your to-do list. They know you don't have it yet. You will have to submit a final transcript only to the college you're going to, not all the colleges you applied to. You will request this transcript on the Eastwood website. If you're a dual credit HCC student right now, you'll also request your transcript from them, and that's through HCC's website. Okay, we're getting close to the end. I know I've talked a lot. It's a lot of information. So you will need to send me things throughout this time, things that you need to send me to my email address, and some of you have already been doing this, are all of your acceptance letters or emails you get about college, not just a random email, but your acceptance email. All your financial aid award letters. Like I said, it could be a screenshot of your financial aid part of your student portal. Most of you don't have that yet. That's fine. That's stuff that will come in March and April, like I said. And any scholarship win notifications, please send those to me as well. We track all of that information. And that's some of our graduation requirements are for you to give me all those things. You'll also complete a survey about your future plans and do some other things before we allow you to graduate. So if you get it done earlier, it'll just save you some time. So now I will let Mr. Laborde talk to you guys about Jostens.
Yeah, you can keep that in presentation mode there, please. That slide there. All right, guys, so this link, I have posts, I'm going to repost it in the chat for you. This is where you will go to place the order for your cap and gown. And if you need, so it's in the chat, right? So if you click on the little chat box, you should be able to see the link there. This is where you will go to place your order for your cap and gown, or if you need to order any of the announcements or any of the regalia as it relates to graduation. Mr. Laborde, do you want to add to that? I'm going to start adding the documents you sent to me in the chat as well.
Yeah, so we all know graduation is coming. It'll be here before we know it. The one thing that is required, like I said, when it comes to graduation, is the cap, gown, and tassel. It's a little cumbersome to get to on the website. So it's normally about 3 clicks. It's going to start off with like packages. If you just scroll a little bit below that, it'll basically give you an option to browse more items. You click that, it'll show you all your individual items, and it'll say browse cap and gown items, and then everything there will be listed out. It will say cap and gown unit, so that does include the cap, the gown, the graduation tassel, and your custom Eastwood stole. The main thing to remember is it is going to give you a choice of what gown to choose. So you'll choose the white gown if you're top 10%, and then you'll choose the blue gown if you're not in the top 10%. The gowns, it's a little tricky. So there's basically 2 orders when it comes to the cap and gown. So we need to probably set a deadline of next Friday. If you get everybody who gets their order in by next Friday, basically we stop until Jostens, hey, start making these cap and gowns. From that point, we'll probably have them in about 6 weeks. Most of it, the time comes from the stoles. Once that happens, then basically the gowns start coming in after you order, say after next Friday. They just start coming in pretty much as they're ordered from 6 weeks from the date that they are ordered. So that is the one thing that you're required to have. I would highly recommend getting that ordered right now. The only thing it really asks for is basically your height and your weight. That's all it goes off of. We have a chart, like a little scale, to choose the correct, properly fitting cap and gown for you. So basically, it'll just give you a little range. So, 5'9" to or 5'7" to 5'9", 125 to 150, 150, 175. So just make sure just the people making your stuff have no idea who you are. As we learned from last year, the last thing we want to do is have to get stuff redone. All of our plants and all the plants are still at 50 and 25% capacity. So we just like to get them to you as soon as possible. We do understand the online option may not be a viable option for everybody. So we do have an office located in Humble. I think Ms. Lira has my address in the email that I sent. You're more than welcome to mail in a check or a money order. If you happen to come by, if you want to come by and pay cash, you can do that. The only thing we do ask is that you call and make an appointment. Just let us know you're coming, just in case we do have other people here. We just kind of want to keep everybody spread out. There's a drop box, a mail slot in the door as well. So if you happen to come on a Saturday or a Sunday, you can always slip it in there as well. But we do encourage everybody to order online. It's simpler, it's faster, but we do understand it's not a viable option for everybody.
All right, thank you, Mr. Laborde. So I have put everything in the chat there. You see a preview of the graduation announcements for Eastwood Academy. And you should also see the address if you plan to pay with cash or drop off any orders. I also included the documents of the order form if you don't want to do an online order. So you have everything that you need to place an order ASAP. We will remind you next week that your orders are due Friday, January 22nd. Again, the only reason we're putting this date in place is because it takes 6 weeks from the day you order to actually receive your cap and gown. So we will have them, correct me if I'm wrong, Larry, but they come here to Eastwood if they've ordered by that January 22nd date.
Yeah, I'll bring them to the school.
Yeah, so they'll all be here all at once. But if you order outside of that January 22nd deadline, then, it might come to you later than usual because it'll take 6 weeks from that date, whatever day you choose to order.
And if they do order like any wearable items like hoodies or t-shirts or anything like that, those will go directly to the residents. If they're ordered, the only thing that will not go to the residents is an extra tassel, because we tried that last year and a bunch of those got lost. So if you order an extra tassel, it will come in packed with the cap and gown. So it'll be the cap, gown, the graduation tassel, and then like the little blingy tassel or something like that.
Got you. Thank you. And are there any seniors on the line that have any questions while we have Larry with us? You can type it in the chat or you can go off mute and ask your question. Are they the same price?
Yes.
Same. Yes. The cap, gown, and stole is one. It's like one together, and that is.
Yeah, so the cap gown, it shows up as a cap and gown unit. And so for all those items, it's $50 plus tax. And there's no shipping fee or anything like that because they all come to me and I bring them to you.
Okay, and Jacqueline is saying she placed an order already, but she doesn't know if she did the right one. If you use the link that I sent, Jacqueline, and you ordered the cap and gown package, then you did the right one. Dependent on whether you ordered a white or a blue. Again, top 10%. Most of you guys already know this because Dr. B has reached out to you all and sent the ranks and all that great stuff. Yes, it does include the tassels. So just make sure you're ordering the color gown. That's really the only thing that you need to know whenever you're ordering is which color you're ordering. And we will send them a list to confirm so that we get the right gowns in the right hands. And then do you have any general information about rings, Larry?
Yes. So if on the link in the website, it basically that'll takes you to the graduation section. If you just go click, basically the Eastwood will be up in the top left-hand corner. If you click that, it'll say shop my school. And then that'll give you a link for the class rings. And then you'll see graduation and you'll see some other items. Basically, we tell everybody, even before all the online stuff, use the online ring designer. The best part about the ring designer is you get to design your ring, you get to see exactly what it looks like, and you get to see the cost of it. Then basically you can be done in just like a matter of a few minutes. There are two options of payment whenever you get to the end. So you can do a $75 deposit. And then basically what happens is we'll send an email out. It'll have a picture of the ring. It'll give you username and passcode for you to log back into your account. And you can log into it. You can add items. You can add senior items to it if you want to. It'll allow you to basically log into your account, make payments. You can pay as much as you want, however often as you want. You can pay it in full if you wish, or there's another option. I don't recommend it. It's called JPay. Basically what it does is, for simple math, say you get a ring that's $300, the deposit would be $100, and then the next month they would draft another $100, and then the third month they would draft another $100. People like it, but when it comes to seniors, they're not going to ship out the ring until the third payment is sent. So the ring will probably be done in 4 weeks. But if you're on JPay, you're gonna have to wait 2 more months before you get it. So I would highly recommend doing either the pay in full or the $75 and then make payments however it suits you. That's what I would recommend on the class ring part.
Okay, and then Sophia is asking about ordering items, additional items later. So if she does the cap gown combo by the 22nd, and then she orders other things like shirts or whatever, how long would it take for those to come in?
Those normally ship out in about, right now they're shipping in about 3 to 4 days. It's basically once it gets processed through the system, it goes to the plant. So generally from date of order to when they receive it is about 7 to 10 days, somewhere right in there. Unless the item's on back order, then they will give an email letting them know that. But I think everything's good to go right now.
Okay, so guys, just make sure at a minimum you order your cap gown package so that can come in. That takes the longest because they have to actually print the stoles with our logo and the class year. So make sure you get those in. Any other questions? How do we know which cap and gown to get for our child? There's a link, and so one of the packages there is the Eastwood is the cap and gown package. We have pictures on the screen that show what they look like, the cap and gown themselves, and then we send Jostens the list of the top 10% so they know which of our students are getting the white gowns and which are getting the royal blue. Also, right now we don't know. Well, actually, we're going to get to graduation in a second. Any other questions about the ordering? While he's on the line, we don't want to keep him any longer than need be.
And I will tell you, there's always 99% of the time, there's somebody here to answer the phone. Because I know somebody asked, I think I ordered the wrong color, it didn't ask or anything like that. They can always call the office. They can send me an email. I'll look it up. And if I need to switch it, I can. So if you've already placed your order and you want me to look into something, just shoot me a quick email and I'll respond to you pretty quickly.
Okay, and then I just put his email in the chat as well, so you have that. All right, thank you, Mr. Larry, for joining us today. Ms. Stanley, can you go to the next slide, please?
You'll have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much, sir.
Bye.
So the next slide just kind of tells you what the plan is for graduation until we hear otherwise from our school district. So annually, our graduation is scheduled for the Saturday after the last day of school. So that Saturday would be June 12th, 2021. It's always at 1 p.m. and it is always at Barnett Fieldhouse. So this is the plan that we're proceeding with until we are told otherwise by the school district. Now, alternative plans could mean that we are limited, right? So it's quite possible that we might have graduation at this place at this time, but then students are limited to the number of people they can bring to graduation. That's one possibility. Another possibility might be that, you know, we have to have RSVPs in advance so that we know how many people we need to accommodate. And then, of course, with the social distancing guidelines. Now, these are just assumptions that I'm making right now based on the parameters and the guidelines that we have currently, right? So things might change if everyone gets vaccinated and our local officials determine that we don't need to have as strict as guidelines that we have right now in place. And so then that might change, that we might just have a normal, quote unquote, normal graduation like we used to in years previous. So this is the tentative plan, and if things change, when they change, of course, I will let you guys know as soon as that happens. Next slide, please. All right, and Veronica, are you on the call? Veronica is going to talk about some senior activities that are on the schedule currently.
Hi, guys. I just wanted to send a quick reminder that the senior survey for the class shirt is due by the end of this month. And as a reminder, the shirt is $20. The link to buy it and to fill out the survey is in our Instagram account. I'll send it in the chat in a little bit. So you just need to go to the link, fill out the survey, and at the top there should be a link to take you to the school pay page. And once there, you just fill in the amount, so $20. And that should be your way to pay. And if you can't pay online, then you could also put the money in a sealed envelope and drop it up at school. But just make sure to put your name, Miss Michelle, and class shirt on it on the front. Excuse me. And you could also pay for the shirt that way. And if you have a problem paying, or if you are unable to pay at this moment, please reach out to us. We're always here to help. So if you have any sort of questions or anything, just contact any member of the student council. Oh, and also the prom committee is planning right now a fundraiser that will be a drive-in, most likely at school. So we're still getting the details arranged for that, but just keep a lookout for that so you can help support our class. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. If you guys have any trouble getting to the school pay, I can send a link tomorrow if you all need it to pay for the shirt. How much is the shirt, Veronica?
It's $20.
Okay, I'm just putting it in the chat so everybody has it in one location. All right. Next slide, please. All right, if you have any questions about the graduation, the college application and scholarship process, please make sure you email Ms. Stanley. And if you have any questions whatsoever about links for ordering cap and gown and all that great stuff, I will post all of that in your class of 2021 teams again, because I've already posted it last semester or before the winter break. But I'll post it again, and so that you have it fresh on your minds, including the documents that we posted in the chat here. And then I will also include Mr. Larry Laborde's email if you have any specific questions about the rings and such. All right, if there aren't any other questions, our meeting is over. We have run the team's participant list so we can code you guys. And then we will also have, this meeting has been recorded, so we will post it on our YouTube channel. One more question, what is prom looking like at this time? Right now, we don't have authorization to book venues with the district for prom. So right now we're just planning to save our money in the event that we are authorized to book venues. So once we have that authorization, all high schools in the district are in the same position right now. We're on hold for booking venues. So once we know that we can do that, we will notify you guys. But what I would say right now is, and what I think the prom committee is doing right now, correct me if I'm wrong, Veronica, is looking at venues and the possibility of booking, but we can't sign contracts yet until we have authorization from our district. So we're trying to have a plan in place so that we're not last minute trying to find a place and have a theme and everything. We want to plan everything as if it's happening. And then if we're not going to be able to do it, then, you know, it's just a matter of not doing it. And if we are authorized to do it, we have everything in place. So hopefully, cross your fingers, we'll be able to safely. Any other questions before we end the call? All right, thank you all for joining us, guys. Have a good evening, and we'll virtually see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.